It's time for Ask Mike Mondays. Mike answers one listener's question every week. Here's Michael Becker and Paul Peebles.
Welcome to Ask Mike Mondays. I'm your host, Paul Peebles, National Underwriter for Old Capital. Joining me today, smartest guy in the room, Mr. Michael Becker.
Hey, Paul.
Michael, how are you?
Doing well.
How's everything over at SPI?
Things are going good. It's busy. We're in the middle of, kind of as we record this, wrapping up an equity raise. So it's been a lot of work here lately.
Let me ask you, you guys manage or have under asset management $650 million?
Will be when we close these deals, yeah.
And you guys have done, $900 million in transactions?
Yeah, been in principal, buying and selling, something like that.
And you guys have bought over 7,000 apartment units?
All sounds very tiring.
How do you sleep at night, my friend? How
like
do you
a baby,
sleep?
Right? been busy here, more so here recently than early in the year, which is good. It's just been a lot here lately.
So, as you know, Michael was a lender of money. He was for a large national bank and has made the transition to an owner of apartment buildings. So we asked Michael some great questions for an operator. So Michael is an operator. Again, he owns thousands of units. So I think we would ask him this question. This is actually kind of a good question to ask a banker, a former banker. And the question is, Michael, what are the benefits of using a mortgage broker instead of a direct lender?
Yeah, why would you use a mortgage banker over a direct lender? I think first and foremost, especially if you're, on the lesser experience side, in particular, it kind of amplifies my answer. But a good, competent commercial mortgage broker should have the ability to increase the certainty of execution, really. So having someone on your side that can kind of navigate the choppy waters. I've yet to see a deal in my career, or it's very rare to see a deal that doesn't have a problem at some point along the way. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, but there's always a problem. And if you're going through these deals, having a good commercial mortgage broker that can kind of be on your advocate for you with the lender, maybe with the broker, you can help you kind of solve some of these problems. So that's one aspect. I think the other aspect is kind of the concept of if you go, when I was working at the bank and you came to me, I had one product I can sell you, and that may or may not be the right product for that situation. If you go to a commercial mortgage banker, they can assess the deal and get you, multiple arrows in their quiver, I guess, to use an analogy. So they can not only, if that wasn't the right deal for me, they can then say, okay, well, we really should be going over here. Let's talk to these two different lenders and try to find the right solution that fits the business plan and the specifics with that property. So that's kind of the other thing, increasing certainty of execution, helping solving problems, and then really giving you the right product and the right loan and not trying to force it just because that's the one product that I can offer. I can offer, a buffet of menus for you. Those are really the biggest benefits. Paul, you're actively doing it. What did I not touch on?
No, I think you had it pretty close. So it's kind of a selfish question, I guess, that I saw that I thought was probably a legitimate question is why do you use a broker versus going into a direct lender? So Michael and I have been direct lenders, and so Michael is absolutely correct. So if you look at the menu and the only thing on the menu is steak and you're okay with steak, then stay with the steak. If you are looking for other things in the menu and you're looking for a buffet of different things, steak, fish, everything you can imagine under the menu, then you're going to go with a mortgage broker. The mortgage broker hopefully is going to have a lot more solutions to try to get it done. Another thing is that some of the bankers can be very good. But if you're looking for a mortgage broker that's going to be very good, you want to look for a mortgage broker that's probably done this for a number of years and has closed numerous transactions. A brand new mortgage broker that maybe have done residential lending and now is going to be a commercial mortgage broker, I would find out how many transactions in that property type they've closed, because property types of single family are different from property types of warehouse, office, retail, multifamily. And so within that group, within real estate, you want to make sure that the person that you are bringing on board is kind of being your CFO, that you're asking to help you get this financing done, that they have a track record or a past history of actually able to get it done. And you may want to ask for references of people that have used that mortgage broker to find out if that person can deliver what they say. So, everything's about certainty of execution. And you may think that the bank can give you certainty of execution, but I've come across a lot of banks that are bankers that are kind of brand new, that they have never maybe done a deal of multifamily. They may have done this and they may have done that, but they may have never done that. And so even ask your banker, go into detail with them, is kind of figure out if they can do this transaction or have a history of doing the transaction. Last thing is fees is on the deals. I think the impression that everybody gets is that using a mortgage broker is more expensive than going to a direct lender. I would say sometimes yes, and most of the time no. And the reason being, I'll give you an example between Michael and I. When Michael and I used to do business together, and he worked for a large bank, we priced that deal so that it was the same as if the borrower had come directly to Michael. Is that right, Michael?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we would be able to. We know as a bank, from a banker's perspective, when I worked and I did a bunch of loans for Paul, when someone would come to me off the street and I never heard of them, I may or may not have a high opinion of them, especially if they were kind of newer in it. And every time I got a loan in from Paul directly, I was like, all right, I know Paul's at least got him set up right. He set the proper expectations. And my job as a banker is much easier because he's sitting there kind of just teeing me up and I just got to go execute. So working on a transaction, either kind of cold call on or self-sourced versus a warm lead in. So that's why bankers like working with mortgage brokers. They know that they can just kind of hit repeat and it's a lot easier for a transaction because everything's set up and Paul kind of does all the groundwork for the banker basically.
But I would also say though too is you want to establish a good relationship with that mortgage broker because it's kind of the gateway to the banker per se. And then Michael will tell you that how many times did I start a conversation? Michael, do you have a second here?
Yeah. Hey, can you talk? That's what Paul always says.
Can you talk? And then I would do a conference call with the borrower and Michael on the call. And so the borrower explains the situation directly to Michael, the banker, and the banker wants to make sure that the broker is not just giving them one side of a story. The banker wants to hear really what's going on, and they want to hear it from the words that come out of the borrower's lips. They don't want to have it just out of my lips. They want to build a relationship. These are relationship transactions. These are just not, the broker is not should not send out 10 packages. Maybe they'll send out one or two and have one or two conversations. But that's what you're paying the broker to kind of cull the list of 50 opportunities out there and have them bring it down to one or two, get you in front of that bank, have a relationship with that bank, talk through the transaction, make sure the banker. Because these bankers, again, these are not decision makers. These bankers are typically kind of like salespeople, and the people behind the banker are the decision makers. The banker sets the deal up, they write it up, they give their thumbs up if they want to do the deal, and then they bring it to the credit decision makers, the credit committee, and that's how these transactions. But the first thing that what happens in credit committee, they'll ask, have you talked to this borrower? Do you know exactly what's going on with this deal? And when people talk with me and I put them on the phone with the banker can always say, yeah, I've talked with the borrower. I understand the questions. I understand what they're trying to do. Does that help you, Michael, as a banker?
Yeah, I think that's helpful. And then the other thing is sometimes bankers could, like any profession, you're a little different breed and you have your own pressures and jargons that you speak. So if you could speak to someone that I could talk the same language, it's kind of like where I'm speaking French and he's speaking Italian and we can't communicate very well sometimes with a client. And being able to, what a good, competent commercial mortgage broker is, could be able to take something that is seemingly complicated and break it down for the client, but yet speak in the right language and be like a translator to this deal and making sure that everyone clearly understands what's on the table, and then increase the likelihood of execution, as well as, I've seen this firsthand with Paul, some of the Fannie Mae lenders that we do. When we being Old Capital bring a opportunity into the table, it certainly has a certain level of credibility out of the gate just because of the source that it came in from, because I've done so many transactions with them where if it came in just off the street, they may or may not, you have to go through that whole learning curve about who this guy is, where that is shortened a lot if it comes to the right source.
The vouch for credibility is probably the biggest thing.
Like a transfer credibility from the mortgage broker who does a lot of volume to you, essentially.
Yeah, and if the mortgage broker has good, clean, quality business that's coming in for that bank, they're going to want to do more of that type of stuff. It is their lowest cost source of production or origination is by having a mortgage broker part of their team that's bringing business in. They don't want to pay for a desk, a telephone system, a salary, all kinds of things that go along with being a banker. They just want to have this transactional flow that comes in from an independent person that kind of knows really what they can do and what the best source is to get your transaction done. Again, I'll go back to cost. Everyone thinks of using a mortgage broker. It really, to me, even though I've been a banker, I've been doing this for 33 years. I am a broker / banker. I think the cost thing is way blown out of proportion. Our cost is pretty much the same of you going directly to the bank. There's ways that we can structure these deals. The pricing is pretty much the same. It's a lower cost way of getting a product to the bank by working with a mortgage broker. So anything more to add to that, Michael?
That's it. No, I think you covered it well. What should they know about coming up here soon in the Old Capital world?
We are going to announce, not right now, but we're going to announce the day of the annual 2019 Old Capitol Conference held in Dallas. I think that's coming up in about a week or so. We are looking forward to having you there. Again, last year we had it at AT&T Stadium. We had over 750 people show up for that. Roger Staubach was our guest speaker on that. The year before we had Rob O'Neill. So always great speakers, always great networking. You do want to make it the opportunity to attend. It's going to be in October. I'll let you know that.
Yeah.
It's going to be in October. So set the date on October in the big calendar, but we'll tell you specifically what day it is and where the venue is going to be. I think you're going to like it. So if people want to get more information about SPI and what you guys do, what's the best way of doing that, Mike?
Yeah, really the easiest way is just simply go to a company's website, which is www.spiadvisory.com. That's SPI like spy, advisory.com. And there's a contact us form. Fill it out. And I'm always happy to have a 10 to 15-minute telephone call with listeners off of the podcast.
One of the things I do like about SPI and what they do over there, again, unbiased or a biased opinion, is the ability to work with high net worth individuals that just happen to be selling something in a very expensive area that want to maybe move their money to Texas. What is that program called that you guys do?
Yeah, well, the primary focus is really just kind of putting together high quality deals and raising capital for them and operating them. But we'll all do a little bit of what we call advisory services as well. So if you have, kind of 3 to 5 million minimum, typical profile of someone that's out of California or some other higher place, they sold a property, have a 1031, want to come to Texas, they just don't know anybody and don't know how to get it to the market. We kind of help shorten the learning curve and basically run the transaction for them and help identify some stuff. So if you guys are interested with that, really kind of needs to be, $3 to $5 million or more in equity that would kind of help you get home. We're actually doing one right now on helping a guy who sold a movie studio of all things in California. So we're going to be in multiple transactions. And the first one is, 30 plus million. So we're looking forward to get that one closed here. And I think it'll be early June when we close that one. So it's been a fun ride on that one.
Holy cow. That's a big one. Good for you guys over at SPI. So again, what's the best way to get a hold of SPI?
Just go to the website, spiadvisory.com, fill the contact us page. Happy to have a telephone call.
That's great. Again, smartest guy in the room, Mr. Michael Becker. I'm Paul Peebles. Have a great day.